Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news. So, folks, the Pittsburgh Steelers are once again in the middle of a very interesting and somewhat tumultuous period, especially when it comes to their defensive line. The team has been really busy over the past week making roster moves, and that's because of a series of injuries that hit the defensive front during training camp. You know how important the defensive line is for Pittsburgh. It's part of their identity, their backbone. And right now, with 3 key players going down with injuries, the Steelers are adjusting on the fly, trying to stay ahead of the curve and keep that ferocious Steelers defense intact. The most recent move, and one that's caught a lot of attention, is the release of defensive tackle Jacob Slade. Now, this isn't just a routine cut. It's with an injury designation, which tells you a lot about the current state of the team's roster and depth chart at the DT position. Slade, for those who might not follow every practice detail, was a guy who's been on and off the Steelers roster since January 2024. He's a young player, undrafted out of Michigan State, who was trying to carve out a spot in the NFL. But unfortunately, his time with the Steelers didn't quite pan out the way he or the team hoped. He's yet to step onto an NFL game field, which makes this move more about roster management and injury concerns than about performance. Now, injuries at training camp are always a concern, especially for a team like Pittsburgh that prides itself on a tough physical defense. The injuries at Wednesday's practice involved 3 players: Dean Lowry, an experienced veteran brought in to bolster the line, Esezi Otomo, a promising free agent signing in 2025, and Jacob Slade himself. All 3 suffered knee injuries, which is never good news, especially for linemen who rely heavily on their knees for leverage and explosiveness. But despite these setbacks, the Steelers are showing resilience. They've responded quickly by making some roster moves. Along with releasing Slade, they've signed Kyler Baugh, a defensive tackle with some solid college credentials from Minnesota and a stint with the New Orleans Saints. Baugh is a player who's trying to make an impact and add some depth to a unit that's currently trying to find its footing after these injuries. His signing was previously reported, and now it's official. Another piece added to the puzzle in Pittsburgh's defensive line. And here's where things get even more interesting. Just recently, Braden Fhoko, a familiar face for Steelers fans, announced that he's returning to the team. This is a pretty significant development because Fhoko's familiarity with the Steelers system and his experience in the league could bring some much-needed stability to that defensive front. However, it's important to note that neither his signing nor the roster move has been officially confirmed by the team at this point. But the fact that he's making a return is enough to raise some eyebrows. Steelers fans remember how impactful Fhoko can be. He's a gritty, relentless player who fits the Steelers' defensive mold perfectly. Adding Braden Fhoko back into the mix could be a game-changer, especially given the current injury situation. The Steelers' defensive line, historically, has been a cornerstone of their success, with players like Cam Hayward setting the tone for years. But this season, the depth is being tested more than ever. They're trying to find that balance between experienced veterans and young, developing players who can step up when called upon. The injury to Dean Lowry, who's been brought in to provide veteran leadership and pass-rushing ability, has created a bit of a ripple effect. The team is now counting on players like Otomo and potentially Fhoko to fill those crucial roles. Now, it's worth mentioning that the Steelers' roster right now stands at 91 players, which is a bit above the league's usual 90-man limit for the offseason. This includes Julius Welskoff, who's on an international exemption, giving the team some flexibility to maneuver and make adjustments as needed. It's a testament to how the Steelers are managing their roster with a keen eye on both current needs and future potential. Looking ahead, the Steelers are entering a critical phase of their offseason, trying to get their defense in top shape for the upcoming season. The injuries at the defensive line might be a setback, but there are also opportunities for lesser-known players to step up and earn their spot on the roster. Players like Ba and possibly Fhoko could be the difference makers in these early days of the season, especially if injuries persist or if other players don't perform as expected in training camp. The coaching staff is undoubtedly working tirelessly behind the scenes to evaluate talent, adjust schemes, and ensure that the team remains competitive. Pittsburgh's defense has always been about resilience, grit, and relentless pursuit of the ball, and this year is no different. The fans, of course, are eager to see how these roster moves translate into on-field performance. The Steelers have a rich history of overcoming adversity, and even with these injury setbacks, the core mentality remains the same: fight, grit, and never back down. Now, when we look at the bigger picture, this situation with the defensive line could have ripple effects throughout the season. If players like Atamo or Fhoko can step in and perform at a high level, it could bolster the Steelers' pass rush and run defense, which are crucial for their overall success. The AFC North is fiercely competitive, with teams like Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland all fielding formidable squads. The Steelers need to stay healthy and deep to keep pace, and these roster moves are part of that puzzle. It's also worth mentioning that the defense, historically, has been a Steelers' hallmark. Think back to the legendary defenses of the past. This team always prides itself on that tough, physical mentality. And even in this new era, with younger players and some injuries, that identity remains. It's about stepping up when it matters most, especially in divisional games that can define a season. As fans, we all know that injuries are part of the game. It's tough, it's frustrating, but it's also an opportunity for the next man up to prove himself. The Steelers are no strangers to overcoming adversity, and this season might be no different. We're all eager to see how these new pieces fit into the puzzle, how the coaching staff adjusts, and how the team responds under pressure. The goal, of course, remains the same: winning games, making a deep playoff run, and bringing another Lombardi home to Pittsburgh. So in summary, the Steelers are navigating a challenging moment with injuries on their defensive line, leading to roster shuffles and strategic signings. The return of Braden Fhoko, the addition of Ba, and the release of Jacob Slade all tie into a bigger story about resilience, depth, and the relentless pursuit of excellence that Steelers fans know so well. It's a season of ups and downs, but if history has shown us anything, it's that Pittsburgh never stays down for long. They find a way to adapt, to fight through adversity, and to come out stronger on the other side. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on these roster moves? Do you think the team is doing enough to overcome these injuries? Are you confident in the depth they're building behind those starters? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news. We're all in this together, and the passion for this team runs deep. Let's keep the faith, keep supporting our Steelers, and continue to believe that brighter days are ahead. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.